All right. Looks like we're live. Let's see if anybody's going to show up. All right. Let's see. Got an excellent connection. I've got a concurrent viewer. Me. Go ahead and put this up on Discord. If I can. Oh, getting some lag. All right. Getting some stuff up here live. Anybody else joining us? Can't tell yet. Oh, looks like somebody on there. How you doing? Just getting the word out that I'm live. Let's see. Let's see. Put it up there. And I'll put it up here. All right. Who else is in here? All right. Oh, 3 concurrent viewers. I think we're making it happen. Well, let's see if anything's showing up there. All right. So, those of you here already, welcome. This is another Slithy Games Live. We're trying things out again a bit differently this time. And let's see here. Boy, I got to turn that down in my headphones a little bit. All right. So, we're trying things out a bit differently here. Going to be doing a live streaming, trying to get the chat in there. So this is still sort of in our beta phase of doing things. Bit of a new background, and the main reason that I'm doing this live stream is in remembrance of Nier, who you may have previously known, at least in the retro community, as byuu, or byuu. I'm not sure how that was pronounced, but they were the main developer, the originator of BSNES, which has evolved over time into Higan, which is a multi-machine emulator, primarily Nintendo machines. And it all started, of course, with the Super Nintendo emulation. That's what BSNES was about, and still Higan is very highly regarded for its fidelity. And so today, in honor, in recognizing the contributions that Nier had to the retro community, and hopes that cases like this don't happen again. This is an extremely tragic situation where Nier was targeted by Kiwi Farms, a troll farm that goes after vulnerable people they find online. I don't know if these are necessarily people in the retro community that understand the significance of the contributions of someone like Nier, or of Higan or BSNES themselves. But it, there was just a giant campaign of harassment and cyberbullying, and even like doxing friends and neighbors. It just a lot of bad stuff going on, and unfortunately drove near to suicide back on Sunday. And so today we're going to honor their legacy with a little playthrough of Super Mario World here in Higan. So, oh, let's see here. Retro Robbins. Oh, thanks. No, that's why I'm doing it. Hopefully this shows up all right in here. So we're going to play ourselves some Super Mario World. So one of the nice things we can do here with Higan is we can set up our controller ports. Let's get get our input going. We'll make sure that okay. Yeah, so that should be all good. We are controller port 1, gamepad. All right. So I think I just need to have focus on the actual thing. There we go. All right. I'm going to go ahead and erase all this data because, all right. Yeah. That's right. The words can't affect you unless you allow them to. And so definitely I think that what a lot of us need to do in the retro community is that when we see somebody, not just somebody as high up and valued as near, but really anybody, that if we're seeing a targeting like this happening, is and I didn't know it was happening, unfortunately, until it was too late, and that we really need to rally behind each other. Well, there we go. This is why I shouldn't talk and do these things at the same time. We really need to rally behind each other and prevent things like this from happening in the future. You know, always whenever I play Super Mario World, I always forget to use B for jumping. I always want to use Y. I don't know why, but anyway, yeah. So, I don't know how many folks on my channel that subscribe to my channel, what their sort of relationship is with the Super Nintendo, but definitely, I mean, for me, it was sort of more late in my life, where I was almost out of high school when it came out, and so the Super Nintendo became more something that my little brother got to play with after I went to college, but I got to have it for a bit, just enough to really really get into some of the main things, like, oh, get down there, like Super Mario World. Played that quite a bit. Ugh. Yeah. And of course Mario Paint, another great thing for the Super Nintendo. But yeah, I mean, definitely there's there seems to be a large generational shift where for some people it is the Super Nintendo is the Nintendo that they grew up with, and when they're thinking about sort of the big retro platform in their life, this is it. What system am I playing this on? I am playing this on my Linux laptop. Runs Ubuntu Studio, a variant of LTS 20. And it is it's running Higan, and it runs pretty well. I've run other Super Nintendo emulators too, but Higan definitely works very good. In my video where I did Hello SNES, I didn't end up using Higan in that one. I used a different emulator that was at least friendlier to my code. For some reason, I couldn't figure out why my code wasn't working on Higan. I think probably because it is maybe less forgiving about stuff that doesn't work on actual hardware, and there's something I was missing. CNC Maker, you still have yours. Excellent. I have no idea what happened to mine. I have no idea what even happened to my NES that I had. So basically, in my house, when I went off to college, the NES was still there. I don't know, in the closet or something. The SNES was what my brother had. And I have no idea what happened to the SNES, because that was gone by the time I got out of college. My brother had moved on to the PlayStation 1. And the NES itself, I have no idea. I had all sorts of games. I had an original gold cartridge Zelda. I had a lot of great games for the NES. No idea what happened to it. No idea what happened to the SNES. It's all gone. All of my old retro stuff is so long gone. The only things that I have are things that I acquired as an adult. So we're talking about after I graduated from college and had money. So I have my original Nintendo 64, and I have my Sega Dreamcast still. I haven't had them out of storage in a while. I do plan on changing that. But yeah, don't know what happened to that original Nintendo stuff. But I still got my Nintendo 64. I've got a couple Wiis, including the original one that I waited in line for at Best Buy, like when it first came out. And I have a Wii that my parents actually bought to play Wii bowling at one point, that I got as a second one because my original Wii is not in a happy state anymore. Theirs isn't too happy either. I need to clean the lens on that. And of course now the main console that we have at home that my kids are super into is the Switch. And rather than depending solely on emulation, we can now play these games, or at least on PC-based emulation. Oh, we have the emulation in the Switch, where you get a selection of SNES and NES games on the Switch. You don't have to pay extra for, like you did on the Wii. Although, of course, I bought this game on the Wii. Oh, I did toss my ColecoVision on ass. Oh dear. Well, that's too bad for the ColecoVision. That was a nice system. I remember when ColecoVision came out, and a friend of a friend had it, and I remember this was before the NES happened. And just remembering how much better the graphics were on that than the Atari or the Intellivision, which is what most people had by then. I remember playing, there was a Rocky game. It was like Rocky 3. And you could fight Clubber Lang, Mr. T, on it. And had graphics that were, recognizably like the characters and not just weird blocky abstractions. But then, of course, the NES came out a couple years later, and it was all about Coleco what now? But speaking of Coleco, my very first console that my parents got when I was really still a toddler was actually a Coleco. It was a Pong clone that made by Coleco, the Telstar Sportsman, which it came with a fairly realistic looking rifle, or at least it seemed like a rifle when I was a kid. It was I think it might have actually just been like a very long-barreled pistol, but still, it looked a lot like a real gun. And but then mainly we just played the Pong with it. It had hardwired controllers that they didn't detach, and they weren't just fixed on there. They actually had a little wire that went to there, and you could play the little paddles. And that was our first video games at home before I got a Vectrex. Was my first proper console with actual cartridges and a real microprocessor. I think that old ColecoVision, or not the ColecoVision, the Coleco the Coleco Pong, I don't think had any I'm pretty sure that didn't even have a microprocessor in it. I think that was just a bespoke digital circuit just to play Pong. It's kind of like how the original Pong was. There was no microprocessor in it. It was just a bunch of discrete logic wired up together, and you could hook it up to a TV and it would play Pong. And that's how it all started. But the Vectrex was really cool. Vectrex had the vector-based display. It's not a raster-based display. It built right in, of course, because not everybody has a vector CRT sitting around at home that they can connect a system to. So that's what I had before I had the NES. And also before I had my first computer, which was a Tandy Coco 2, another 6.5, or rather, not 6502, but 6809 based system. So I had two 6809 systems and didn't realize it because, And of course, I had no idea how to do assembly programming back then as a young child. But I could have done it if I'd really love to get those systems back. Those are also long gone. I sold my Vectrex for like maybe $20 with all the games it had. I could now sell each of those games for well over $20, and the system itself, who knows? Who knows how much I get those for? Hey, Felipe, welcome. Yes, Mario. Doing a little Super Mario World today in honor of Nier, the developer of Higan, who we sadly lost this weekend. And so, anyway, my sort of ramble up this talking about my history with the Nintendo and having these systems and how I don't have them anymore. Either my parents got rid of them, or I sold them or gave them away. Like I gave away my Coco 2. I sold my Vectrex for next to nothing. $20 was more valuable for me for the Vectrex when I had the NES. And so then, coming back to this, wanting to play these games in the 21st century, the only way to do it, because unless you went to a thrift store or something, you'd have to, there were no, like, things like the Wii where you had these I'm like getting too into it now, where you have the means of being, oh, let me get the feather, crap, where with the Wii you could have the little app store where you could buy all these old games, and it would just work as an emulator for you. You didn't have any of that really before the Wii. So it was these old these PC-based emulators is how these games became really available to anybody that didn't have the original hardware. Seems to me learned Z assembly like 6 months after TRD was released. You were 14 then. Wow, very impressive. I was only 11 when I got my Coco 2. I guess I was not that industrious. Of course, by the time I was 14, I got my first IBM PC, Tandy 1000, and I wouldn't wish anybody, 14 or any age, to have to learn x86 assembly. That's just it's beyond the pale. I'm gonna get that feather. Come on. Ah. Yeah. So really, I think the whole emulation thing for me started was when somebody gave me a copy of MAME. I can't play this at all if I'm talking at the same time. This is why I'm not a superstar on Twitch. So MAME was my first introduction really to PC-based emulation, and that would probably be around 2003 or so. Let me get this. And that like opened this whole new world where now not console games, but every arcade game in existence, including like the Neo Geo, and I could play these all I wanted. I didn't have to buy a $900 Neo Geo and the $300 games. I could just play them for free. Yeah, Felipe prefer the risks. Yeah. As fiddly as doing assembly on risk can be, still probably better than the x86. There we go. Ugh. Oh, now I'm losing it all. Boy, I really can't play this at all and try to talk at the same time. Yeah, but ARM is a lot easier to read and write. Yeah. I haven't actually tried doing ARM assembly. Definitely something I'm interested in doing. Probably once I'm done with the Z80 series, I'll do maybe a bare metal Raspberry Pi thing. I think that'd be kind of fun. And just see what you can do with that just by doing a little bit of assembly. Let's see. If I do this, nope. Not so good this one. But yeah, I'm definitely very interested in seeing what can be done with the forget it. What can be done with the Raspberry Pi just to do something very simple. Access the GPIO. Just try to do a bunch of stuff. And just get right down to that bare metal and see what can be done. So you don't have to run Linux. As Felipe said, I started writing a little OS, Cortex. Oh, nice. Little driver framework schedule. Very cool. Yeah, I lost Yoshi. Sorry, Yoshi, not going back for you. Oh, no, I'm losing out on that. I mean, what I really love about this game in particular is really, it really stands up really well. It is still really nice to play. Oh, there we go. Get a little extra feather. I mean, I think the graphics still look nice. I think that's some of the things that can be an issue with the old NES games is that the 4-color graphics, it can be difficult. It's just that side of being acceptable. It sometimes seems. Let's see, can I go up there? That's right, I know I can. And I think that's also why, not just because, let's blame millennials for everything, but why Super Nintendo ends up becoming the sort of default, like, this is what old school games look like. And I think because, you have a game like this and you put it on a modern machine, it still looks good. And it still plays well. And you have more than just the A and B buttons. You have something more along the lines of a modern controller. And I think the SNES games just really stand up very well. Oh, using .NET in a Raspberry Pi. Oh, dear God. Oh, for the IoT setup. Oh, yeah, the Windows 10 IoT. I know they have or whatever it is. It's Microsoft makes an IoT OS that can run on a Raspberry Pi, and then I guess you can use .NET with that, or some sort of Microsoft framework if it's not .NET, and that's something that they're looking for you to do. Running with a little Cortex M4 runs at 168 megahertz. Considerably faster than your first home computer, 25 megahertz. Wow, that's living large. Your first computer is 25 megahertz. Yeah, your app becomes the OS. Yeah, pretty much. I mean, there is I remember installing it on a Raspberry Pi and seeing what it looked like, and it was, it was pretty basic. It was just like, hey, this is what your app could be, and you have some sort of boilerplate menus and things, and that's just generally if you're actually hooking it up to a HDMI monitor. Otherwise, I guess probably most of those applications just run headlessly. But yeah, it's a neat concept. And yeah, I haven't played a whole lot with the Raspberry Pi. The one I did have, and I still have, but it's not so happy these days, is I was using it as a low power server, and it works really great for that. If you want to have a server, like I ran a Plex server off of that, it did a really good job at that, right up until the point that my whole system got struck by lightning. And boy, I forget how to get out of this. Oh, that's right. And so it killed my cable modem. It killed my TV that was luckily still in warranty, so I was able to get a warranty repair on that. But the Raspberry Pi has never quite worked the same ever since then. And so I haven't been really using a whole lot then. I would like to get a new Raspberry Pi, get a Pi 4, because the old one's a Pi 2. And it's kind of limited. I know there's a lot more you can do with a Pi 4. Maybe even a Pi 400, but then it's like, then I got to actually hook it up to a monitor. And before I was running that Pi 2 headlessly, because it was just as a server, I would VNC into it just to get stuff set up, but mostly would just SSH into it, and then just have it run the, I always forget how to get, that's it, select. SSH into it to do some basic things. Make sure things are running. Do some configuration. But mostly just get it set up. Doing Plex. Wasn't powerful enough to do transcoding. So had to make sure all of the videos were encoded in a way that it could just serve it straight up to my TV, and everything would be happy. It wouldn't have to change it to a format that would be kosher with whatever the Plex client was running. So, I mean, that worked. So it wasn't perfect, but it met the needs, and mainly low power, because that's what you want. You don't want to have to run some like giant like rack mount server to be just to offer up some files to some little set-top device. Yeah. If it's electronic, it's on UPS, yeah. You know, I use them religiously when other people are paying for them. Haven't made a real investment for myself, especially since most of the time I'm just using a laptop anyway, so don't need an UPS for a laptop. It's got a battery. Oh boy. Ooh, get some stars, get some flowers. Oh, nice. There we go. Ooh, 2 1-ups for me. Yeah, that's right. So let's see. I think here, if I can make it into this third castle, I think that might be it for tonight. It is getting very late here in the States, here on the East Coast. but I did just want to make sure that I didn't let this moment pass by, and also reiterate just how we need to do a better job making sure that the folks in our community are getting supported, and that when somebody is targeted, especially if they're not some cishet white male, which I mean, yeah, that I'm one of those too, but it seems that there's a certain faction, especially online, that if you're not falling into that category, then you're not valued, and somebody's going to try to bully you out of existence, either out of online existence or out of existence period, as happened with Nier. And yeah, definitely we need to make sure that that this stuff doesn't die with us, because if we keep acting in a foolish way like that, nobody's going to want to deal with any of this stuff. Nobody's going to deal with all of us old farts and all of our stupid old games. Is just going to die with us, and I don't want that to happen. Forgot he can do that. All right, I'm going to give this one more try. Boy, I forgot how much harder the difficulty gets just once you get up to here. I'm not sure if I've ever beaten this game. Because again, this is if I was probably a year older, or a year younger rather, and I had more than a year and a half or so with this system before I went off to college, or if I had taken it to college with me, I probably would have gotten a lot better. Oh, crap. Probably would have gotten a lot better at this game. All right, we're going to see here. Either I'm going to beat this level, or I'm going to run out of lives. That's the line I'm going to draw in the sand. Keep trying to find a way out of this nonsense. How do I get out past this guy? Can't get them through that either. So I've got to jump up on him. Ugh. Alright. I'm going to try each of those pipes, because I don't remember that I had to get past. Ah, crap. Yeah, so sad. So one of the things that I like about the way some of the games are now, I'm gonna go ahead and kill Higan, that you don't have the concept of lives anymore, like in Super Mario Odyssey, which my kids love. My 7-year-old actually has beaten it, and I couldn't imagine having beat a NES game. I mean, NES didn't exist when I was 7, but at 12, beating a game for me was a big deal, and that she's able to do that at 7. I mean, obviously the games are a bit more easy and forgiving, and you have this assist mode that she's able to use, but she was able to do it. She's actually done it twice now, and she loves it. And you don't have the concept now of lives. You have the health meter, and the assist mode, you get it up to 6. So you can just keep trying over and over again. You don't lose your progress anymore, which is just annoying. And so yeah, it definitely, I think it probably encourages better engagement, because some of the nonsense holdover we had from the arcade era, we're not dealing with that anymore. I'm gonna take these off so I can actually hear my voice properly. So yeah, just run towards. Okay, yeah, I think Felipe says I can just run towards the wall. That's probably true. I think if I run towards the wall, I'll just run straight up it. So I'll do that another time. I've got it saved now on my Higan, which again is nice. That towards the end of my original Zelda cartridge, the little battery in that had really gone down voltage, and by the time it was about 5 years old, it wasn't dependable anymore. Sometimes it would just spontaneously lose the memory, and that, for a game like Zelda, that's very difficult. But anyway, that's all I got for you tonight. Just wanted to just make sure that I got the message across of I think how important it is that that we do our best to support other folks in the retro community like Nier, and when they're in trouble, that we step up for them, and try to make it so that we can keep all this going and make sure that our community remains open and engaging and kind and all of those things, so that it can continue on, and we don't have to deal with this nonsense forever. So that, say, when my daughters decide to, if they want to start, streaming, playing old games or something, that they're not going to be discouraged from that just because they're female. And that's some ridiculousness that just needs to end. So I bid you good night, and I'll see you again. So also, for folks that may not have caught, I posted just on YouTube, I have a new secondary channel, an actual Slithy Games live channel. I'm not necessarily going to be streaming live from that channel. I might do that if people actually start subscribing to it. But for now, this video, once it's done going live, I'll probably leave it on unlisted overnight, and then in the morning I will take it, make it unlisted, and then put the copy on this Slithy Games live channel, so you can subscribe to that and be able to see all the old streams. My first 2 streams are up there, even the second one that was just a real disaster and just came out horribly, but you can still watch it. And that's it. So thank you for joining me. I hope you check out the new channel. If you like just watching this live content over again, that's going to be the place to do it. So, all right. Peace.